Yo, what is good, guys? And we back for another video, y'all. We're fully into the off season. Free agency happened 2 days ago, and can't lie, it's been a little interesting, but not as interesting as Shams would like us to believe. But let's get into the biggest move so far for me. The Bucks are waiving Damian Lillard, man. Obviously, the Bucks haven't had a good run recently. They've had, 3, first round exits in a row. Giannis gone through some injuries. Dame, obviously, he had blood clots earlier. Came back and tore his Achilles. He's probably going to miss the majority of next season, if not all of next season. And the Bucks, the future's not looking bright, man. The future's not looking bright. And there have been talks about what Giannis is going to do. Is Giannis going to get traded? He's going to get moved, man. And this Dame move was to bring in Miles Turner from the Pacers, who Pacers we're going to talk about. Halliburton injury and losing Miles Turner, we're going to talk about the East in a different video. But the Bucks, obviously, they're waiving Dame, spreading out his contract for $20 million over the next 5 years. Well, $20 million each year over the next 5 years. And the real comment for me is, what does this mean for Giannis? Are the Bucks still trying to compete? Because the Bucks have made a couple other moves, such as re-signing Gary Trent Jr. They brought back Kevin Porter Jr. They brought back Jericho Sims. They did lose Brook Lopez, but they replaced him with Miles Turner, Miles Turner is basically just like a younger Brook Lopez. A stretch big, block shots, doesn't really rebound. Not too quick on his feet. But the Pacers do not want to go into the tax for Miles Turner. And for the Pacers going forward, not going to have Halliburton. They lose Turner. I think they did already get their 2026 first round pick back. And they also have the Bucks 2026 first round pick. So for the Pacers, I think they're in. Although this is going to be like a bad season to me, you're losing your best player and you lose someone you've had in the franchise for the last 10 years. I think this season can still end up good where you have a down year like the Mavs did, where they went to conference finals. That year they didn't make playoffs, got a draft pick, and then went to the finals and basically did it again. Finals, missed the playoffs, and then he's got number 1 pick. Obviously, the 2026 draft is a really good draft coming up. I'm not sure if you heard, they got Cameron Boozer, AJ DeBonsta, Darren Peterson. It's a pretty star-studded draft. But for the East is looking wide open right now, man. The Bucks not looking good. Celtics not looking good. Pacers not looking good. While other teams in the East, like the Atlanta Hawks, have been making big moves. Consistent big moves. They started with Porzingis, obviously, in the trade with the Celtics, where they only had to give up Georges Niang. And then a really big move they made was signing Nickeil Alexander-Walker in a signing trade. Nickeil obviously had a really good season. One of the best 3-and-D guard you can get. Was integral to that Timberwolves team. Obviously, as the announcers will tell you 100 times, that is Shai's cousin. And they signed Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They signed Luke Kennard. Well, obviously Luke Kennard is one of the best shooters in the league. The Grizzlies couldn't keep him, and he signs that just a 1-year deal. I don't think he can ever have a bad 1-year deal. But a 1-year deal with the Hawks. Obviously, he is not in volume wise, but in accuracy, he is one of the best 3-point shooters. And I think next to Trae Young, that is so impactful. I don't know if you guys saw, but Trae Young is one of. I saw a stat. I can't find it right now, but it was Trae Young is the person who ups his teammates' shot quality the best. He is one of the best passers, one of the best playmakers. He knows how to set his teammates up, and he got Porzingis, drafted Asa Noel, picked up Luke Kennard, picked up Nickeil Alexander-Walker. The East is looking good. Another team is the Magic. Magic picked up Tyus Jones. Obviously, they traded for Desmond Bane. Got Jace Richardson and Penda in the draft. They have not re-signed Mo Wagner, which I do believe they will do. And again, the East is looking wide open. I think some of these teams like the Magic, the Hawks, are teams that can jump up to top teams in the East with how wide open it is. But moving on to the West, man. Big move here. MPJ to the Nets. Cam Johnson to the Nuggets. The Nuggets obviously ended last season fired Michael Malone, their head coach, and David Adelman stepped up, and they also fired Calvin Booth, the GM. I'm not sure who the interim GM is, but he has been making moves. Obviously, Michael Porter Jr. didn't have the best year last year. He was shaky, inconsistent, especially in the playoffs. His defense wasn't there. And you have Cam Johnson, who's coming off a career year with the Nets. Obviously, you can only look at it so many ways because it wasn't with the Nets, but it was a career year. He was almost 40% three-point shooter, good defender, good scorer. And another move they made was to bring back Bruce Brown. Let me pull that one up. Was to bring back Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown obviously was one of their key pieces in that championship team who they lost, didn't replace, as well, along with like KCP, and they now brought him back on, again, a one-year deal. I think this helps their depth so much. That was one of the problems. They didn't have depth. And I think another thing that's going to help with their depth is finally getting Jokic some backup center minutes. They've run Saric, they've run DeAndre Jordan, Day'Ron Holmes obviously was injured, but now they got Valanciunas. Obviously, Valanciunas isn't like a premier center, but he is a really good backup center, better than what Jokic probably had the last 10 years. And I think the Nuggets' depth going forward has been great. I think the GM has done a great job so far in this free agency. And they also signed Tim Hardaway Jr. off the Pistons, just had a good year. And I think, again, pushing that depth, you get another shooter on a one-year deal, just trying to maximize Jokic's prime, trying to maximize Jamal Murray. I think this Nuggets team is looking dangerous going forward, but to me, they're still not the most dangerous team in the West. That, to me, is the Rockets. The Rockets obviously signed KD for Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green, great trade. And then they just added Dorian Finney-Smith, an elite 3-and-D player. The Lakers, I don't know if Rob Pelinka is doing this free agency. He let Dorian Finney-Smith go for free. I think that helps their three-point shooting depth, which is something the Rockets have struggled with, and it just improves their defense even more. They're already a great defensive team last year, and now they're just making it better and better. But one move from the Rockets that, to me, I'm not sure if I feel this one. I'm not sure if I feel this, man. Although the Rockets have been doing good moves, the Rockets signed Clint Capella. I'm not a fan of Clint Capella, man. Like, I think, no, he's not really a good athlete at this age. He's not really a good finisher. He's not like a premier defender. His main thing is he's a good rebounder, but you already just picked up Steven Adams on a 3-year deal. You got Sengun. Unless you're running Sengun at the 3, I don't know how many double big lineups they want to run, because you already have KD, you have Jabari Smith Jr. as well. So I think you don't need that much depth at the center position. Obviously, depth is always nice, but around the league, I'm seeing like tons of teams, the Lakers, the Pacers, even like the Grizzlies, for example. The Grizzlies, Jaren Jackson Jr. is out. He's having surgery on his toe. You have Zach Edey miss the start. They probably need a backup center. They probably could have signed Clint Capella. And I think I'm pretty confident that the Rockets will probably still move on from Clint Capella in a different trade. And they're going to release Jock Landale and probably move Clint Capella. But overall, the Rockets have been making good moves. And the last team I want to talk about is the Hornets. Hornets obviously had a good draft. Drafted Con Knipple, Liam McNeely, and another one in the second round. I'm forgetting his name right now. They just made a trade for Colin Sexton for Jusuf Nurkic. Jusuf Nurkic, bum. I'm not even going to respect him, he's a bum. Then they got Colin Sexton in a second for Jusuf Nurkic, which is great value on that deal. The Jazz, not really sure about the Jazz process with that. Obviously, the Hornets, they traded Nurkic, they traded Mark Williams. Last season, they traded Nick Richards. So they didn't have a center. And who they pick up? The one, the only, Mason Plumlee. Mason Plumlee is one of those guys who you just feel like has been a Hornet for life. Like the Hornets just love their white centers, whether it's Mason Plumlee, Cody Zeller, Frank Kaminsky, like they just love that type of center. And Mason Plumlee obviously coming back, 1 year deal, basically on the minimum, just play center. Another move they made was Pat Connaughton to the Hornets for Micic. Obviously Micic, great EuroLeague player, hasn't been so great in the NBA. They add another shooter around LaMelo, which they seem like that lineup that they're building so far. I think all they need is a competent big and LaMelo to stay healthy. And I think they can be a decent team in the East, especially with how open the East is this year. I see a lot of teams being aggressive, making moves, and it's another one of those aggressive moves I like. And they also signed Spencer Dinwiddie and re-signed Trey Mann. And I think the Hornets, if LaMelo can stay healthy, if Brandon Miller is healthy, I think they can be a decent team in the East. Like, I think they're better than teams like the Bulls, the Heat. Like, I think they can be in that like 8 to 10 play-in range, even higher, depending on how some of the top teams drop. You know what I mean? Because Celtics might drop, Pacers probably gonna drop, Bucks probably gonna drop. We could probably have Magic and Hawks going up. Sixers are gonna go up. I think that's not gonna do anything. But I think they can make a play-in push, and I think that's just progress. You just gotta take the little steps. And I think they can be a good team in the future. And yeah, guys, that's it for this free agency video. I'm probably gonna make another one because I need more big moves, but there's been a lot of moves in this free agency. Let me know what you think. If you agree, disagree, like, comment, subscribe. Peace. Hey y'all, not gonna lie, as I was wrapping this video up, bro, we just got another huge piece of news. DeAndre Ayton, who was bought out by the Trailblazers, has now signed with the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers obviously have needed the center. They were getting absolutely dominated by Rudy Gobert in the playoffs. Just interiorly, it didn't have that presence. And now, although DeAndre Ayton isn't like the best center, he has the tool. Since college, he's had the tools to be a top center. He just always needs the mentality and the drive, which he still doesn't have. But hey, DeAndre Ayton's better than nothing, man. I feel like he can still run that pick and roll with Bron, and run that pick and roll with Luka. He can like stop him from getting absolutely like obliterated in the paint. And I feel like that fixes up a lot of problems for the Lakers. They did also sign, I didn't mention this one, they signed Jake LaRavia to replace Dorian Finney-Smith. I think the Lakers, for proper center, if Bron and Luka are on their game, I think, in a series, I think they can beat anyone. I just think with Bron and Luka, you can never bet against them. That's my thing. I don't think they're gonna win a ring, but I think you can never. That's one of those teams you can never truly just say no. But yeah, just want to add that one. All right, peace.